Hi, welcome to Flashback. This is the first episode where I introduce some of the best black comedy films. Dream Scenario presents a fictional story about a seemingly useless teacher. We've all encountered teachers like this in school, but probably none of them have ever shown up in our dreams. However, Paul, a biology professor at a university, has recently started appearing in the dreams of others. Interestingly, a significant portion of the population in his neighborhood and city begins dreaming about him. Overnight, Paul transforms from an unknown person into a recurring figure in people's dreams. The film doesn't focus on answering the question of why this is happening. Why so many people suddenly start dreaming about the same person. Instead, it explores how people start judging someone not based on their real-life experiences with that person, but on the mental image they form, which leads them to treat him in a certain way. The film is directed by Christopher Borgli and stars Nicolas Cage, Julianne Nicholson, Michael Cera, and Tim Meadows. One of the producers is Ari Aster, whom I mentioned in a previous episode on supernatural horror. The genre of this film can also be described as fantasy. It's suitable for viewers aged 14 and older, and I'd rate it as a solid film with good quality. While it had the potential to be even better, perhaps even excellent, I still think it's an enjoyable film at its current level. It's easy to watch and appeals to casual viewers, as well as those with more discerning tastes who appreciate more serious and well-made films. Triangle of Sadness. The film is divided into 3 parts. In the first part, we witness a debate between a young woman and a man. They are arguing over how to split their meal expenses, they come from the same social class, have the same job, and are in similar financial situations. Their struggle is about how to divide their financial resources and share them with each other, despite the fact that everything about them is equal, except for their gender. It is the only gender difference that they cannot reach an agreement on how to handle the division of their finances. In the second part, we see a variety of people from different social classes and backgrounds coming together, including a couple who are not financially stable. Here, everyone is trying to make the most of the benefits and opportunities available, including the crew, who are strategically working to secure the highest tips from the wealthy passengers on the ship, such as the newly wealthy wife of a Russian businessman. Meanwhile, the captain of the ship is notably absent for much of the film, as he is in his cabin getting drunk and indulging in the luxuries that the ship provides. Now, imagine if the ship were to sink and this group had to take refuge on a deserted island. How would they divide the limited resources they have? How would they share the little food they manage to gather, or handle relationships and intimacy among the survivors? And how would they redefine their social hierarchy and class in this new setting? The film, directed by Ruben Östlund, stars Woody Harrelson, Harris Dickinson, Charles B. Dean, and a number of lesser-known actors. With a runtime of 1 hour and 55 minutes, I would generously give the film an excellent rating. It's a truly good movie and definitely worth watching. It appeals to both mainstream audiences and those with more discerning tastes who aren't easily satisfied by just any film. I believe this film is aimed at that particular audience. Wild Tales begins with a short episode that plays even before the film's opening credits. The passengers on a flight suddenly realize they are part of a planned scheme, where free tickets were sent to various individuals to gather them on this flight. The person behind this plan intends to take revenge on everyone by causing the plane to crash, with the crash site said to be the home of the mastermind's parents. It seems this individual is also seeking revenge on the parents who likely wronged him. The film doesn't downplay the underlying theme of anger and revenge. Instead, it portrays these emotions as inseparable aspects of modern life, a recurring theme throughout the 5 subsequent episodes. This anthology film is directed by Damian Szifron, who has also worked with Pedro Almodovar, one of the producers of this movie. With an approximate runtime of 2 hours, Wild Tales is episodic in structure. It is not recommended for family viewing, especially with children. I would give the film a solid rating, though it could have been better under different circumstances. However, it's definitely worth watching at least once, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Whether you're a casual viewer or someone with more discerning tastes, this film is likely to appeal to both. Noi lives alone with his grandmother and has little connection with his father, an alcoholic taxi driver. He frequently encounters problems at school, eventually leading to his expulsion. At one point, he meets a girl who has just arrived in the village and works at a gas station. He forms a relationship with her and begins to fantasize about escaping the village with her to start a new life. The film Cold Light, or Noi Albino, is directed by Dagur Kari and features Tomás Lemarquis. The film has a runtime of 1 hour and 30 minutes and doesn't adhere to a specific genre. I think it's suitable for family viewing and can be considered a simple yet meaningful film. However, it will also appeal to a specific audience that appreciates the slow rhythm and minimalism of a snow-covered village, reminiscent of the film Fargo, and enjoys such cinema. General Aladdin is the dictator and leader of the fictional country of Wadiya, which of course does not exist on any map. He has held power since the age of 7, having inherited it from his father. Aladdin embodies all the traits of a selfish, self-centered, stubborn authoritarian, and he is naturally obsessed with nuclear weapons. The character of General Aladdin is clearly inspired by Muammar Gaddafi, the former dictator of Libya, but he also bears similarities to Mahmoud Ahmadinejad and other Middle Eastern and African dictators. After introducing this character, the film takes us on a journey with General Aladdin to New York under the pretense of attending the annual United Nations meeting, where he is supposed to speak as the leader of Wadiya. Unbeknownst to him, his uncle has plotted to replace him with a simple Wadiyan shepherd lookalike, essentially planning a soft coup to secure a favorable deal with oil companies. The film is directed by Larry Charles and stars Sacha Baron Cohen, Ben Kingsley, and Anna Faris. It's definitely rated R, so it's not suitable for children. The genre is political satire, or more specifically, political farce. It's truly one of the funniest films in the black comedy genre that you can watch. Its appeal is especially strong for those of us from the Middle East, but I believe it will resonate with both casual viewers and more discerning audiences. Four Lions tells the story of 4 British Muslim extremists who deeply criticize Western society and its governments. Their plan is to carry out bombings for revenge or other misguided motives. Omar, Waj, and Faisal, all British Pakistanis, are the main characters. The problem is, these 4 are so incompetent and foolish that they end up causing chaos and self-harm. Whether they're trying to make a bomb from groceries bought at the supermarket, training a crow to act as a bomber, or traveling to Pakistan to receive training for suicide operations, their ineptitude leads them to target their own people and innocent bystanders by mistake. The film is directed by Chris Morris and stars Riz Ahmed, Kayvan Novak, Nigel Lindsay, and Adil Akhtar. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 37 minutes, and its genre is political satire. I would give the film a positive review. It's an enlightening film, especially for audiences in the Middle East, and many will find it funny. I believe both mainstream and alternative audiences are the target for this film. Idiocracy suggests that evolution or natural selection allows the most adaptable to survive, and naturally, these individuals are more likely to reproduce. In the 21st century, however, people with high IQs seem less inclined to have children, resulting in very low birth rates among them. On the other hand, less intelligent individuals with lower IQs are having children in large numbers. By the year 2505, almost 480 years later, the world has become a massive landfill populated by foolish people who don't even understand that watering crops with energy drinks and soda isn't a good idea. 2 completely ordinary people who participated in a forgotten cryogenic freezing project in the present day, our time, wake up in the year 2505 to find themselves the 2 smartest people on the planet. Naturally, many adventures follow. The film is directed by Mike Judge and stars Luke Wilson, Maya Rudolph, Dax Shepard, and Terry Crews. It falls into the science fiction genre, and I think it's suitable for viewers aged 14, 15, and older. While the movie itself is somewhat average, the concept behind it is brilliant. It's an ordinary film, but worth watching at least once for its entertaining take on the future. Trainspotting, also known by the term used by heroin addicts, tells the story of a group of young heroin addicts who are tired of their lives, filled with theft to buy drugs and their disheveled appearances. They want to quit drugs and try to improve themselves by finding jobs, getting girlfriends, exercising, and isolating themselves from bad influences in hopes of quitting. However, after what they call changing the filter and experiencing brief periods of abstinence, they eventually relapse. The story includes their struggles, overdoses, and the death of one of their friends due to addiction. Many strange and tragic events occur, all centered around their heroin addiction. The main character, Mark Renton, narrates the story and seems to have more determination than the others to overcome his addiction. The film, directed by Danny Boyle, stars Ewan McGregor, Ewan Bremner, Johnny Lee Miller, Kevin McKidd, Robert Carlyle, and Kelly MacDonald. The movie's runtime is approximately 1 hour and 33 minutes. While it doesn't fit into a specific genre, it is important to note that a sequel was made in 2000. However, the sequel doesn't live up to the original Trainspotting, and I wouldn't recommend watching it. I would give Trainspotting a solid, excellent rating. It's one of Danny Boyle's finest works and can be considered one of the best films in British cinema in recent decades. It's a film that both general audiences and those with discerning tastes will thoroughly enjoy. The King of Comedy tells the story of Rupert Pupkin, whose dream is to become a famous stand-up comedian in an era when television is dominated by various comedy shows featuring well-known personalities. In this environment, it seems there is little room for newcomers. Jerry Langford, played by Jerry Lewis, is one of the renowned and beloved figures Rupert desperately tries to get close to. Using all sorts of tricks and persistence, Rupert seeks Jerry's help in achieving his goal. However, Rupert's insistence and mediocre talent annoy Jerry, who tries to brush him off and get rid of him. Despite this, Rupert is truly tenacious and resourceful, turning their relationship into a cat and mouse game. He even resorts to kidnapping in a desperate attempt to secure a few minutes of live airtime to perform his comedy for the audience. Directed by Martin Scorsese, the film features Robert De Niro and Jerry Lewis. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 49 minutes, and while it doesn't fit neatly into a specific genre, I should mention that Joker, which was made a few years ago, borrows heavily from this film. In a way, Joker can be seen as a combination of The King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. I would give The King of Comedy a good rating. Overall, it is an important film. If someone is a fan of Martin Scorsese's work, they definitely need to see this film. It appeals to both mainstream audiences and those with more discerning tastes. In The Great Dictator, during World War I, a Jewish soldier from the fictional country of Tomania is serving his country in the war. This soldier, who is never named in the film, saves the life of an officer while on duty. They board a plane together to escape danger, but shortly after takeoff, their plane crashes and the Jewish soldier loses his memory as a result. Years pass, and the Jewish soldier is now working as a barber, having developed an interest in his profession during this time. Meanwhile, Adnoid Hinkle, or simply Hinkle, has become the totalitarian and oppressive dictator of Tomania, issuing orders for the persecution and arrest of Jews. Consequently, our main character, the Jewish barber, is also arrested. He was living a very ordinary life and had even developed a romantic relationship with his neighbor recently. While going about his normal routine, he is arrested and sent to a forced labor camp. Coincidentally, he encounters the same officer whose life he had saved earlier, and that officer helps him escape from the camp. Later on, due to the striking resemblance between the Jewish barber and Hinkle, their identities get swapped when Hinkle goes missing for a moment. The Jewish barber then takes the place of the Great Dictator of Tomania. The film is directed by the unparalleled genius of comedic cinema, Charles Spencer Chaplin, who also plays the lead role. The cast includes Paulette Goddard, Jack Oakey, Henry Daniel, and Billy Gilbert. This film is suitable for family viewing and is a political satire belonging to the same genre. I would undoubtedly rate it as a top-quality film, and it will surely appeal to both general audiences and discerning viewers, provided they are interested in watching classic films. Alright, dear friends, this section, Jumping Popcorn, features a clean and tidy overview of films that I'm introducing here. While none of these films are bad, some are even masterpieces. They are either very well known or, for various reasons, I prefer to mention them briefly instead of discussing them in detail for a minute or two in the main film section. The first film, Frank, was made in 2014 and directed by Lenny Abrahamson. I think those interested in the underground music scene rather than mainstream music will enjoy this film. Next is The Death of Mr. Lazarescu, made in 2005 by Cristi Puiu. It may not be very popular and might even be considered boring by many, but it is significant in the black comedy genre and has a specific audience. Those who truly want to delve into black comedy should check this film out. The following film is Gosford Park, made in 2001 by Robert Altman. It's a really good film. Robert Altman doesn't have any bad films. However, in my opinion, this film is a very loose adaptation of Jean Renoir's The Rules of the Game, made in 1939. It is a genuinely lovable film but belongs to classic cinema and is very well known. Many people may have seen it, so it might not be particularly interesting for the general mainstream audience. Still, those who have heard of the film but haven't seen it can genuinely refer to it, watch it, and enjoy it. The Player, 1992, another work by Robert Altman, is also an excellent film, though a bit older as it was released over 30 years ago. While it's a really good film, the audience for it is likely to be serious and dedicated followers of comedy, or black comedy in the cinema world, who probably know Robert Altman and this film well. Watching and discussing Modern Times, 1936, another masterpiece by Charlie Chaplin, is another must. It truly needs no introduction. However, to complete this list, I had to include all the important films. This was the 6th flashback and the first part of introducing the best black comedy films. There is one more part of this list remaining, and the names of the films introduced in this section, along with their release years, have been provided in the previous descriptions. I would be happy and curious to know which film from this list is your favorite. How do you evaluate it? Are there any other important films from this genre that you know of? Please be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you, and I hope to see you again. Stay happy, healthy, and well until the next flashback.